So we're here at the museum in Inverness, and one of the main reasons we wanted to come here is because it has not only some amazing beaker and grooved-ware pottery and many other things, Pictish stones, etc. It's got some of the geometric stone spheres found in northeast Scotland and north and west Scotland, all over actually. And this is really a follow-up to the main documentary I made. We went mainly around Aberdeenshire, Glasgow and Edinburgh, but we know there are some now on Callanish. We know there were an Orkney that featured in the last video, but now we know that there's more on display. And we know there's some here in Inverness, there's some at Perth, and we're going to try and locate some others on our journey around ancient Scotland. But first, I want to just show you these. So these are the ones that really caught my eye. I'll just bend down so you can see them there. So there's two there, and one of them is a really interesting spiral one, which I'll zoom in on now. So we have the torch lady assisting us. Thank you. So here are the three that are on display. And this one's really interesting. Look at this. It's kind of lumpy. It's got like what looks like a cut mark in it, and it spirals in right to the top there. That's a very interesting one. JJ suggests it looks very much like the one that was discovered in Siberia, which we'll show you an image of here. But you can clearly see it's got a spiral going all the way around it. I'm not sure exactly where this is from. It just says carved stone ball with a spiral, Neolithic art, etc. I just wonder if there's anything else on it that you can see. Then we have one at the back here, which is a classic six-sided one. It has like six kind of rounded protrusions on it. This one was interesting because it says it was found close to 3 chambered tombs, but where exactly was this? Was it in Inverness or was it somewhere further afield? Then we have this stone oval near a fishing town of Fraserburgh. Is it a fishing weight, or is it part of the whole system of these geometric stone spheres of ancient Scotland? So it's amazing to find 3 examples of the geometric Scottish stone spheres. One of them we're not sure, it could be a fishing weight, it could be something else. But these two here, there's one on top, is definitely the classic 6-sided sphere found in near a burial tomb, 3 burial tombs. And this one here is just amazing. It's really big, it's much bigger than normal. So who had that, why it was created, is one of the big mysteries of ancient Scotland. The one in front here, JJ was pointing out that this is exactly like something she's discovered in her research in Siberia. So full credit to her. I'll ask her for the photo so we can compare it. But you can see it's got a notch there. I find that interesting. Is that like the beginning and the end of like string that would be taped around it? So could it be a measurement stick? Could there be a certain measurement associated with the ridges there, where you'd wrap a string around it, much like the Folkestone drums in ancient Britain? Could be a connection there. It could be the reason why all these may have been created. So this is another 6-sided stone ball, and it weighs exactly 500 grams or 1 pound. So this is interesting. So this is the suggestion that actually I was talking to Margaret Curtis about, that she said they may have been weights, very specific weights used, when trading, also in various other forms of trade. Possibly they could have had sacred purpose, the sacred measurement systems which are linked with the megalithic yard and other things. And this is really interesting. It doesn't say exactly where it was found, but the fact is we've got 3, maybe 4 Neolithic carved stone spheres here in the main museum in Inverness. And you can see this is made of granite. You can see the quality of the stone. It's quite remarkable. So it's not only these stone spheres, we also have these wonderful stone axes that are polished. These come from all over this area. We have beautiful flint and quartz, arrowheads, microliths and blades at the back. There were also a Mesolithic arrow has also been discovered in the vicinity, as well as a small jadeite axe, which is 6,000 years old from Caithness. That is very interesting. You can just see the quality of the workmanship right there. So this is the Babler kist stone, which is part of a Bronze Age kist. May have been a standing stone originally. There's cut marks on it, which we find it from the Neolithic era. But there was a body laid inside with a beaker and jewellery, and then this capstone was placed on top. I mean, just look at the size of these. If these are cut marks, they're massive. And then we have these, it's almost like Pictish style carvings. But this is potentially from the Bronze Age. They almost look like wings coming off it. That is pretty amazing. Absolutely beautiful piece found here in the vicinity of Inverness. Here's a little information board. That's what it would have looked like. You know, it's kind of probably on top, but that's on its side there. And there you can see it there from the side. So it's like a proper slab. So we're here at the Perth Museum in Scotland, and we mainly come here to check out the Scottish geometric stone spheres that we know are on display here. We've heard rumours another one got discovered a few years ago, so we're going to go in and check them out now. There's also a longboat here, an oak longboat, and a few other important pieces we're going to show you. But mainly we're here for the Scottish stone sphere. So if you're in Perth, there's many ancient sites in this area, obviously. We've got the whole Loch Tay area, we've got Angus not too far from here, we've got even a round tower, like an Irish round tower just south of here we're going to have a look at. But most importantly to us, we have the Scottish geometric stone spheres, and we know some are on display here. Okay, so just behind me in Perth Museum, we have 4 of the Neolithic carved stone spheres. You can see them on display here. There's some really beautiful examples. Now, there's only 4 here. There may be more in their kind of basement or in their archive, but I'm just really impressed at the fact that some really fine examples are here. We'll get close in and take a look, but this is just another example of, you know, 4 of the 425 that do exist. The first one here is particularly interesting. This was found at Frankley Den, Balbeggy, which is a very, I mean, look at the detail on that. They're so small, and it's got like beautiful grid shape pattern all over it, and these lines connecting it up and dividing the different bosses on it. It looks like there's only like 4 bosses on it, which is unusual. Usually there's 6 or more, but very fine example nonetheless. We actually feature this, a photo of this, in the article and the video I wrote previously. This beautiful example was found between Scone and Murrayshall. Again, generally this area, and again you can see the beautiful design on it, the kind of almost like concentric circles with small bosses on the left. You've got the dividers with triangular shapes and more bosses on the right. It looks like it's got 4 main sides to it, which is quite rare, but this one I know I featured in my article and in my documentary and my lecture, because it kind of has this resemblance to some kind of grid. And what that could have been used for is unclear. It's obviously not a weapon. It looks like something much more profound. So this one here, which has multiple bosses on it, looks like it's been found actually locally in Perth. So we're in Perth now. So this is found somewhere in the vicinity. Now the details of this we'll have to dig out and share with you in the video. But for now you can just see this has got the same design all over it. Multiple bosses. I can't count them because I can't see both sides of the sphere, but you can just see the detail on it. I'll move the camera around a little bit. I'm sorry about the shaky, but I'm zoomed in. It's a very crystalline type of stone as well, probably basalt. So whether this is related to any particular ancient site or culture, we just don't know, but you can just see this is one of the classic ones. Absolutely amazing. This has 6 very pronounced bosses on it, and this is from Rannoch Moor. So we'll double check the details of this, but look at that. It almost looks like a sort of cross, but actually there's 6 sides to it. It's barely a sphere in there, it's just bosses sticking out. So that's very, very intriguing design. Whereas this one here is more of a classic kind of stone sphere, the classic ones you find all over the place where the majority have been found. We have 6 bosses on this one as well. So this example here is found at Frankly Den Balbaggy. So that's in this part of Scotland. And again, this has got the classic 6 bosses. It looks like it's kind of red sandstone or something similar. You can see all 4 of them from a slightly different angle here, just to get a sense of the difference in style between these particular stone spheres here in Perth Museum. We have some other pieces here. These are various stone axes from the Neolithic era. This one at the front was found at Blair Gowrie. The one at the back was found at Mount Shialian, which is the famous fairy mountain near Fortingal. And the one at the front here, the smaller one, this was found at Dunnock, Dunning. And the one on the right, left there at the bottom is Dunnock, and the one on there, the smaller one, is Dunning. Whereas these battle axes, this is found near the River Tay, and another one near Dunning on the right. So again, we have beautiful examples of stonework here, but nothing compared to the quality of these, which are a whole other league of technology, sophistication, geometry, spherical understandings, and mathematics. So these are absolutely stunning examples here in Perth Museum. We've already seen the 4 stones that are on display, but here supposedly was another one, but it got moved away for filming. It's been temporarily removed. This was found in 2017 at Sheriff Muir. It had 6 bosses, broad oval bosses, and 2 of the bosses were decorated with patterns of incised lines. Apparently it's out, so we're going to try and get a photo of it. But look, so there's a newly discovered one here, so that could take it up to 426 or 27 stone spheres now discovered here in ancient Scotland and England and in Ireland. And here are the 4 main ones that we have on display in this particular museum. Excellent examples, absolutely delighted they're actually here, because many are just never displayed. Just arrived here at the McManus Dundee Museum, mainly here to see the Scottish stone spheres, but there's some interesting Pictish stones here we've come to see as well, so we're going to go in now and take a look. Here we have some very interesting examples of Scottish geometric stone spheres. We have them just here. We have 5 examples from various parts of the country. Some of them are 6-sided, 12-sided, even 14-sided. So although they're very rough hewn, they look like they've been damaged and not looked after too well. Actually, it just shows you that there are many, many in all these little museums, little pocket museums all over the place. So it's a delight to actually see some more. We saw some in Perth today. We're hoping to see some more as we go around Scotland. And 425, possibly more now, as we know there was a new discovery that was recorded in Perth Museum, which wasn't on display. It got moved out because the BBC were filming it for a documentary. Interesting examples. These are quite badly worn, but the 2 at the front are quite interesting. The first one, diorite, it has 6 bosses, 6 sides to it, from some Fort Sand and gravel quarry, Warmit, Fife. So it's quite an interesting classic example of like the 6-sided ones we find mostly in ancient Scotland. This one here, this is number 5, and this is 12-sided. So it's got 12 shallow sides from Aberdeenshire. So we've got a 12-sided one here, number 5 here, which is very interesting. We don't find too many of those, and it seems quite small, although the bosses could have been much bigger when it was originally carved. This one is interesting. This has 4 sides, much like the one we saw in Perth Museum, and it's metamorphosed grey-whack type stone. So that's quite an interesting one. Again, we saw one of these earlier today in Perth Museum. This seems to be the best angle of it, although I'll get it directly from above as well. And you can just see the 4 bosses on it there. That is by far the best angle. And you can see 3 of the bosses there. I'll just move the torch up. You can see the shape of them in more detail. If I just move it around a bit. So you can just get a sense of what it looks like. If I shine the light from above, I think from there it's best. This one is a 14-sided sphere from bog-finned dice, Aberdeenshire. Again, this sort of field collection from 1964. Museum number 1964-132. So this has 14 sides. Now we only have a few with 14 sides, but this one is a very, very interesting example. But, you know, as to their purpose, you can check out a full documentary and lecture I also did about the stones. Very interesting discoveries here. So, yeah, so if you're in Dundee or Perth, do check out the museum.